On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Vladimir Antwi-Danso, Professor, to talk about Kantanka's philosophy, reflections. Applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Apostle Engineer Dr. Safu Kantanka, Nana Akofna, little did you know that I'm also a Duana. Colleagues from the academia, members of parliament, if they're here, members of the diplomatic corps, Name, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it has always been very gratifying to be part of this program for the past 35 years. And before I go ahead, I would like to crave your indulgence, Mr. Chairman, to ask for a standing ovation for Apostle Dr. Engineer Safu. Yes. I asked for this because little did I know that I was coming to meet something I have already written about. I was only given the topic, and I saw the topic in sync with Africa's Agenda 2063, that when Africa had occasion to celebrate 50 years of independence, they decided on a journey and where Africa wants to be in 2063. And here we have been shown our socio-historical, socio-cultural, and developmental journey from times of old through independence to today. Kojo, my little brother, thank you very much for doing that. You may not understand why I call him my little brother, because I'm the firstborn of the Apostle Engineer Dr. Safu. Our path crossed somewhere 35 years ago, and he has always been a mixture of awe, inspiration, mentorship, and guidance to me, and I believe to most of you too. The topic given me was Apostle Engineer Dr. Safu's philosophy for developing Africa through science, technology, and innovation. And as I said already, when I was given the topic, my mind went to Africa's Agenda 2063, a blueprint for Africa's development direction up to 2063, when Africa shall have been 100 years old. And here are some of the aspirations from Agenda 2063. 7 aspirations. 1, a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. An integrated continent. 2, politically united based on the ideals of Pan-Africanism and the vision of Africa's renaissance. 3, an Africa of good governance, democracy, respect for human rights, justice, and the rule of law. 4, a peaceful and secure Africa. 5, an Africa with a strong cultural identity, common heritage, values, and ethics. 6, an Africa whose development is people-driven, relying on the potential of African people, especially in women and youth, and caring for children. 7, and the last, Africa as a strong, united, resilient, and influential global player and partner. Professor Chair, you would realize that what we were shown contains almost everything that Africa is now thinking about. Something Apostle Engineer Dr. Safu has mentioned already, the unity of Africa, Pan-Africanism, Africa's development in the hands of Africans. So I'm very happy that the topic suited this, and we have been shown this already. Clearly then, Agenda 2063 is the blueprint and master plan for transforming Africa into the global powerhouse of the future. It is the strategic framework for delivering on Africa's goals for inclusive and sustainable development, and is a concrete manifestation of the Pan-Africanist drive for unity, self-determination, freedom, progress, and collective prosperity pursued under Pan-Africanism. Its aim and philosophy are clear: an integrated and prosperous Africa at peace with itself and with the world, an Africa whose development is driven by its own citizens and which is a significant player on the world stage. Is that what Apostle Kojesafi's philosophy is? How interesting that it is in tandem with what Africa says it is thinking about. Incidentally, this is why I see the similarity of the Apostle Engineer Dr. Kojesafo's vision coinciding with what the AU envisions. But while Apostle Engineer Dr. Kojesafo has created a mission for his vision, the AU relies on the goodwill of the African peoples and the generosity of the development partners to want to achieve the lofty aims of Agenda 2063. Just note the theme for this year's exhibition: Uniting Africa for Development, Transforming the Frontiers of Science and Technology to Build the Future of Our Continent. Whilst a Ghanaian, he is thinking about the development of Ghana and Africa, the development of our continent. Yes, for about 35 years now, the Apostle has shown that Africa can be united for development and can effectively build the future of the continent through shifting the frontiers of science and technology. He has been unrepentant in his call for demonstrating that, after all, quote, Nkrumah, after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs, unquote. He has been relentless in innovation. He demonstrates that African needs could be achieved through domestic mobilization, domestic production, and most importantly, through indigenous science and technology. As I indicated, I've always been part of this for the past 35 years. And there was a time, most of the distributions, I was giving the monies to be distributing to the poor. I remember when I went back, my friends were telling me, and they're now also but this man has been that generous, that innovative, that looking ahead, stubbornly thinking about how Africa can be developed through our own hands. He has been able to produce almost everything, from pins, paper clips, cars, tractors, excavators, televisions, to helicopters, from fertilizers, vaccines for domestic animals, to medications for various ailments. Now let me tell you, you saw I couldn't walk properly and I was jerky. I wasn't practicing any future dance. I was very unwell. And when Apostle heard of it, he just instructed that some herbal medication should be brought to me. And I'm now up. Please give thanks to Apostle for me. And he does all this through his inventive mind, encapsulated in an insatiable, unpardonably stubborn, can-do spirit. Do not be surprised at the creation of the artificial lake near Obuasi. If I didn't know this, and anybody told me what is happening there, I wouldn't have believed it. Because I remember he telling me that he was going to have a big artificial lake. And I said, oh, Papa. That's how I called him anyway. The place is a patchy area with a small stream that dries up before the Harmattan. And he was going to really dam this river. Those of you who know the place, it's now a huge man-made lake with all kinds of fish in it, all kinds. Another time I visited him, he was telling me he was going to bring fish from the sea and put them in there. I said, Papa, this one, they won't survive. No, I told him, Papa, this one, they won't survive. Because the little, stupid science we were taught in school shows that, from the sea to the fresh water. But go there and see. He was inviting me there some time ago and I couldn't. I said, me person who come here and patana me do omo free pumu akogu hono. And they survived. So those things we have always been taught as science given, this man puts them into experiment and realizes that something can. But after all, that is science. Today, as I said, canoes crisscross this lake. and is surrounded by thick forest. And yes, again, he was always looking for species to go and plant there. And it's now a forest. I need not bore you with the achievements in the fields of science, innovation, inventions, and technology. We are all witnesses to his yearly exhibitions, none of which is repeated any year. He doesn't repeat them. He's a proud recipient of several national and international awards. One of the ones I was proud of him, the late Dr. Sowoti and myself were so proud when he won the first UNIDO Award, United Nations Industrial Development Organization Award. Corn husker and other things that he represented. Here is a man from Africa, he won the UNIDO Award. What is his call? Apostle Kojo Safo's calling on Africa is to wake up and see his vision. Apostle is calling on Africa to realize that what Africa needs, what Africa wants, and what Africa needs to do cannot be in the hands of some benevolent foreigner. I think His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo reiterated that. But then what are the African leaders themselves doing? Africans can change Africa. Africans can recraft the contours of Africa's development through indigenous ingenuity. And he is a veritable example of that indigenous ingenuity. African governments are continually signing agreements with foreign governments and companies with such easy terms that the Africa is never able to extricate himself from the clutches of neocolonialism. Like bolt and nuts, we are stuck to their apron strings and are locked up in a debt trap. With a pervasive balance of payment deficits, a yawning export-import gap, and intractable fiscal deficits, Africa seems perpetually imprisoned in the doldrums of stagnation, decline, and decay. Apostle is calling for attention on indigenous efforts. How many hundreds of thousands of dollars do we not waste on our parliamentarians as car loans to buy SUVs? If some of them are here, I want a private member's motion. I said it here some time back. I want a private member's motion that would decree. Well, let me use the decree loosely. That every 4 years, the loans they are giving, they must buy on Antifo from Papa. A private member's motion to patronize made in Ghana goods, especially those SUVs that they have. I think on Antifo was since 25 years ago, right? Some years back. And it is still there. The first one Papa made is still there being used. Strong one. Very strong. So our parliamentarians can have this for the rest of their lives. Instead of, I didn't say anything. If they are fighting over this, I'll join them in parliament. I'll throw better blows. How much more do we not spend on president's fleets, most of which are stolen, when and anytime there is a change of government? The presidential fleet, we import them, SUVs, Mercedes. As soon as there is a change of government, 90% of them are stolen. How many more do we not spend on ministers, MMMDCEs? When has a minister from Korea or Italy imported any car from Africa? Is it not a shame that we import cars as weak as Mahindra for our security services? I saw one being driven by a prison officer. I took the number, I've forgotten the number now. And the smoke that was coming from the car, I think the man driving itself is more a prisoner than the prisoners. VW and others are here to assemble cars. Oh, why wouldn't we at least make them team up with Apostle as the Czech government did with Skoda? I remember Skoda very well because I was the president of the Soviet-trained Ghanaian graduates and our doctors were calling for cars. The government imported more than 120 Skodas that time for our doctors. Apostle is here now. So our doctors, when they are agitating, why don't we order from him? Rather, we are the VWs and what they are seeing the success of Apostle. And that's why they are coming. And they are coming to sign those agreements so that we will be buying VWs instead of buying Kantanka. Last year, Kantanka donated to the military a pickup truck. It was not the first time that he was doing this to the military. On other occasions, he had done the same to the Ghana Police Service. These vehicles are of no inferior quality to the ones governments import and proudly and loudly donate to these services. On Friday, that's next tomorrow, Kantanka will be displaying military security vehicles and other equipment. It is my belief that the generals who have always had and will always have the time and the opportunity to view and or inspect them will not only admire them, but also ask government to contract Kantanka to produce them. I mean the military vehicles, also for the allied services. I've visited Ethiopia several times for research, security issues. I can tell you on authority that Ethiopia virtually does not import anything military. All their military accoutrement, everything the military is in Ethiopia is produced in Ethiopia. We can do it here. Kantanka can give us almost everything that we want because there is no war effort as such now, but our training needs, I think Kantanka can do it. If Africa is to achieve any of the milestones set under Agenda 2063, then the time is now to listen to the voices of such persons, such indigenous innovators, such patriots as Apostle Engineer Kojo Safo Kantanka. They need, and Apostle Engineer Dr. Kojo Safo Kantanka needs to be assisted and supported. The Apostle Engineer Dr. Kojo Safo Kantanka, the innovator, philosopher, and inventor, is saying to you, African governments, and I'm saying this as if he's put in my mouth. He's saying, one, Africa has what it takes to develop resources, men and women, above all, the brain. Two, African inventions are as good as any inventions elsewhere. Three, Africa products must be patronized by Africans. Governments must lead the effort. The solution to Africa's development deficit, four, lies in innovation in science and technology, baked in the African furnaces. Five, though Africa remains a continent with crisis, there is no crisis of dynamism, of innovative ideas, and of optimism in Africa. What we need is pioneering inventiveness and political courage. Chairman, the development direction of every country is first and foremost a political decision. Support the Star of Africa to transform the frontiers of science and technology and to build the future of our continent. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm most grateful for your attention. Thank you.
Tunataka kuambia ulimwengu. Tunataka kuambia ulimwengu.